Hey friends, how's it going? My name is Gabby. Welcome back to my channel and welcome to the first video of 2026. In today's video, I'm going to be talking about a few of my different goals for my channel in the year of 2026. I have a lot of different ideas for like video plans that I want to have this year, and I can actually use some of your feedback on some of these ideas to try to help me figure out exactly what I want these videos to be. So I'm going to be letting you know about a lot of my different video plans for the year. And then we're also going to be talking about my TBR for the year, especially for like this winter time, you know, because Winterween is actually going to be coming up in just a few days at this point. Winterween is a readathon that I love to host every single January, and then we host one in the summer called Summerween. So if you missed the announcement for Winterween, I will have that link down below, but we are just days away from Winterween kicking off. And so I'm going to be sharing my Winterween TBR, as well as a lot of my TBR plans for the months of January and February. So starting with some of my goals and my plans for 2026, the first goal that I listed for myself is that I would like to read 200 books in the year of 2026. And I think because I was able to read over 250 books last year, I feel like this is a reasonable goal for me to set. But I also think one of the goals that I would like to have in 2026 is to read more nonfiction, because, you know, in the month of December of 2025, I read 6 nonfiction books. Like, I don't know what came over me, but I was in such a mood for nonfiction, and I feel like I want to continue to have this energy going into 2026. I actually made a shelf on Goodreads for like all of the nonfiction books that I'm currently interested in reading, because I do feel like in the past I've had this as a goal of like, oh, I want to read more nonfiction in the year, but I never really made a plan to follow through with it. And so I feel like with 2026, I feel like my goal is going to be to try to read at least one nonfiction book per month. That way it'll be a nice reminder to myself to try to reach for it a little bit more often than I usually do. I also want to try and remind myself this year to like pick up more sci-fi books, because I feel like last year was the first year that I really got into sci-fi again, and it was such a great feeling. And I do love sci-fi books so much, so I really do want to try to read more sci-fi this year as well. I think last year for the year of 2025, in my stats video, I ended the year with only reading 15 sci-fi books, which I know it still sounds like a lot, and it is a lot, but I would like to make that number just a little bit higher. Like if I could read maybe 20 sci-fi books this year, maybe 25, I think that would be amazing to see those numbers go up. So if you do have any sci-fi book recommendations for things that you think I would really like in sci-fi, I would love any of your recommendations, because I know I tend to enjoy the sci-fi that's deemed as like more like light sci-fi, or the stuff that's kind of like speculative, the kind of sci-fi that makes you think about the society that we're currently living in. Like that's my favorite kind of sci-fi. So I am open to any recommendations that you might have. Another goal that I had for myself this year was to change my book club, the book troop. We're going to be changing it from a monthly book club to a quarterly book club, and I'm just excited to see like how that goes this year. And I'm really excited because I already have the first 2 book troop picks picked out for this year, because we're going to be reading My Husband's Wife by Alice Feeney for our winter pick. So this book publishes in the month of January, and then we're probably going to be having the live show for this one towards the end of February. I'm also really excited to let you know that my friend Jan is going to be joining us for this live show. So I think this one is going to be a really great time, because I've been seeing so many of my friends who are reading this book are saying it's the best Alice Feeney book yet. And that just makes me so incredibly excited, because I've loved so many thrillers from Alice Feeney. So like to hear that praise, it's so exciting, and I can't wait to read this one. And then for our spring pick next year, we're going to be reading The Caretaker by Marcus Clewer. This book actually publishes on April 21st, and then we're going to be having the live show like towards the end of May. So I'm really looking forward to the book troop picks this year, and I think it's going to be so nice to have the quarterly picks instead of the monthly picks. And I know I had a lot of people telling me that like it's actually going to be so much easier for them to keep up with like quarterly picks as opposed to the monthly picks. And so I do think this is going to be a positive change in 2026. Okay, and then something that I'm so excited about, this is a video series that I've had in mind for a while, is that in the year of 2026, I'm going to be working on this Patreon bingo board video series. So what I ended up doing was that I went to my Patreon and I asked them to submit a bunch of different reading prompts for me. And my Patreon, being as amazing as they are, they submitted me so many amazing prompts. And then because I wanted it to be a surprise, I didn't know which prompts got chosen. I actually left that to my sister, and I asked my sister if she could make me a little bingo board with the prompts that my Patreon submitted. And so Rachel was in control of like selecting which prompts would actually end up on the bingo board. And now for the year of 2026, I have this really cute bingo board, and it's a life-size in-person bingo board. Like how cool is this? So as you can see, because I can barely even hold this in the frame, it's a really big bingo board, and I'm very excited about this because it's a 5x5 bingo board. And so my idea for this is that in the year of 2026, I'm going to do a 5 video series where I complete each line of the bingo board with 5 books for each video. And so I'm so excited for this video project, and I'm also so grateful to my sister for helping me create this amazing, beautiful, cute bingo board. And as I mentioned, it was a complete surprise to me which prompts were going to be on this bingo board, because my sister was the one who selected them from that post. So I wasn't sure which ones were going to actually make it on the board, but I think think the first round of this bingo board is going to be happening in the month of February, and then I'm going to be making videos throughout the entire year of 2026 trying to black out this entire bingo board, and I can't wait. I think it's going to be so much fun. And also, like, some of the prompts that my Patreon submitted for this, like, are you kidding me? Some of these prompts are going to be so tricky. So this is definitely going to like push me out of my comfort zone and like challenge me a little bit, and I think it's going to be really fun. So I'm really looking forward to the bingo project this year. And then if you were wondering, all the other prompts that were submitted by my Patreon but they didn't make it onto the board, because obviously like the board only has 25 spaces available on it, and I had a number of prompts that were submitted that were really good that just didn't make the board. So I took the rest of those prompts and I added them to a spin the wheel, and I think I would like to incorporate the spin the wheel thing into more of my videos next year. And I specifically had this idea where like I wanted to take the rest of these prompts that were submitted by my Patreon, put them on a spin the wheel, and then I think I want to try to do kind of like a library challenge, kind of like what my friend Gavin does over from Gavin Reads It All. He does this like library challenge series where he tries to read books more from his library, and I think that that's such an amazing video concept, because not only do I think it's so great to support your local library, but I feel like it's a great opportunity to maybe like read books you never would have or never even heard of. And I think this spin the wheel is going to be a really fun thing to incorporate in a video like that. So the idea for a video series like that is that I would dedicate an entire video to like spinning the wheel, getting a prompt, and then trying to find a book from my library to fit that prompt and read that book. And it would be like a reading vlog, and I think it would be very fun. So I can't wait for that. And then speaking of like spin the wheel ideas, you know, as I mentioned, I love the spin the wheel videos. Like they're some of my favorites that I've ever made. And so I think next year I would like to try and incorporate them on my channel a lot more, because I feel like in the past, the only times that I've really incorporated the spin the wheel was for my backlist bonanza episodes, which I do continue to do in the year of 2026. Like I love the backlist episodes that I'm doing. And then I also had the spin the wheel decide for like how many hours do I have to read that day kind of a video. And so I definitely want to continue doing both of those video projects, but I also have other ideas for how I could incorporate the spin the wheel. I mean, one of the ideas that I had that I've been talking about forever is doing another kind of reading challenge where it's like how many pages do I have to read that day. And so I made this new spinning wheel where it's going to be between like 50 to 600 pages for one day, and I have to spin the wheel to see how many pages I'm going to have to read that day. And I also updated my backlist bonanza spin the wheel. She got a glow up, she's super cute, and so I updated all of my little spin the wheels for 2026, and I'm going to try to incorporate them in more videos. And if you have any other ideas for like other kinds of spin the wheel things that I could do in 2026, like I am all ears, because I do really love the like spinning the wheel thing. I think it adds like an element of like excitement and like surprise in these kinds of videos, and I really can be somebody who like loves to plan every little detail of my TBR. So I think letting go of some of this control and like letting the universe decide what I might read, it's scary, but it's also really fun. And I think because I love the backlist bonanza episodes as much as I do, I mean, I will have a playlist link down below if you've never seen these videos that I do, but it's just a video series that I've been doing on my channel where I try to prioritize books on my backlist shelf, and I've just had so much fun with it. And I think I want to try to commit to do these videos at least every other month, because I feel like I have been slacking on these videos a little bit in the year of 2025. Like I didn't do as many as I could have. And then another video series idea that I have that I feel like I could use your feedback on is this video idea called like Battle of the Book Clubs. Because if you recall, if you were around in 2024, during that year, I read all of Reese Witherspoon's book club picks for the entire year. And basically how I did it was like every 4 months, I would post a video reading those 4 book club picks. And it was really fun, but it was also like so frustrating because I really didn't like a lot of Reese Witherspoon's book club picks. Like I think I only had a few that were successful. And then I was considering doing this for like Read with Jenna's book club or Good Morning America book club or like any of these other book clubs. But then I was like, oh my god, like I don't know if I want to commit to reading one specific book club for the entire year, because then like what if it goes like it did with Reese Witherspoon where like I'm just not really enjoying it that much. And so I had this idea where I could do a series where it's like Battle of the Book Clubs. And so the idea would be that I would still post a video like every 4 months, but the idea would be that I would sample, like I would try maybe the first chapter of all of the book club picks from Reese Witherspoon, Good Morning America, Jenna's book club. I would maybe like read the first chapter of each of the books that are their book club picks for that month and decide which one that I actually want to read. And then it would kind of be like a battle of the book club to see like which book club I'd prefer by the end of the year. I don't know. I'm still trying to like flesh out this idea, and I would love to know if this is even something that you would be interested in seeing, or like which book club specifically would you like to see for this kind of a video. And then another video series that I do think I'm going to continue in 2026 is like the Reddit book recommendations videos. I've made 2 of them so far, and both of them were like horror related Reddit videos where I was getting horror book recommendations from Reddit. But I do think I would like to continue this style of video series in 2026 with the Reddit book recommendations, but I don't know if I'm just gonna stick to horror. You know, I might actually try to find like sci-fi recommendations from Reddit, or even like there's this subreddit that's called Books That Feel Like This, and it's like a bunch of different photos. Somebody here on YouTube actually let me know that that subreddit even existed, so I thought that would be a really cool place to pull book recommendations from. So I do think that I'm going to continue with the Reddit videos in 2026, which I'm excited about because I really liked the 2 videos that I made last year. Alright, and then jumping into some of my 2026 TBR, some books that I'm planning to read in the month of January. You know, like I said, Winterween is coming up right around the corner. We're going to be kicking off Winterween on January 9th. I also thought it would be a good time to let you know that I'm actually going to be hosting some public reading sprints here on my YouTube channel, and I'm going to be joined by my friends Gavin and Jan for the reading sprints, and I'm so excited. So I will have the reading sprints linked down below if you want to save the sprints and be able to join us this weekend for some reading sprints. But for Winterween, we do have 5 different reading prompts as we usually do for the readathon. As you can see on the screen here, some of the prompts include to read a book in the dark or at night, read a horror or thriller book, read a book with red on the cover or blood, and then read a book with vampires or werewolves or witches, and then read a 2025 release you never got around to. So with those reading prompts in mind, some of the books that I'm hoping to read during Winterween this year include The Vampire Lestat by Anne Rice. This one is actually the sequel to Interview with the Vampire, and I've heard from so many people, like so many people have told me that this book is even better than Interview with the Vampire, and I'm excited because I loved Interview with the Vampire like so much more than I thought I would, and so I do think this would be like the perfect vampire book for me to read during Winterween, even though this one is so long. Oh my god, I just got the audiobook for this checked out from my library, and it is long, and this book is nearly 500 pages, so I'm like, is this really the best thing to be reading during a readathon? I don't know, but we'll see because I'm gonna read it anyway. And then for the prompt of like reading a book with red on the cover, I think I'm gonna be reading The Burial Tide by Neil Sharpson, and this is one that I've been so excited to read because this is from the same author as Knock Knock Open Wide, and this is one that I don't know too much about premise-wise. It says a woman who can't remember her death, an island with a terrible secret, and a past that refuses to stay buried, but the sea remembers it all. And it says this one's taking place in Ireland, which is just like his other book. This just feels like the perfect thing for me to read during Winterween. And then for the prompt of like a 2025 release that I never got around to, I'm thinking about reading The Place Where They Buried Your Heart by Christina Henry. I also think this one could be perfect because it does have the red on the cover. Christina Henry has been such a hit or miss author for me in the past, but I am really excited to get to her new release, and I think this one could be a fun book to read during the readathon. But I do have a few different options for this. I mean, I do have The Midnight Knock by John Fram is one that I really wanted to get around to in 2025 and I never had the time for it. So this one is another option for me to read during the readathon. And then I also do have this thriller called Where He Left Me by Nicole Bart. This is one that I've been really interested in checking out, and I think because this one kind of has like a snowy atmosphere just based off of this cover, I do think this would be something that could be perfect to read during Winterween. And then I do have a few other books on my Winterween TBR, like pretty much anything that's coming out lately that's either like horror or thriller. I've just been like, okay, we'll add it to my Winterween TBR. But I do have the book Itch by Gemma Amor. I mean, this one looks really freaky because it involves these like scary ass looking bugs. And then I also do have an arc of the new Colleen Hoover book Woman Down. This one's actually going on sale in January on the 13th. And this is one that I've just been so curious to read, especially because it's been a while since Colleen Hoover has published, you know, like any book at all, but also because it's been a really long time since she's published anything that's more like a thriller. So those are all of my plans for Winterween. And then also in the month of January, I'm going to be working on a reading vlog where I read a lot of my highly anticipated 2026 arcs. I'm not entirely sure at the time that I'm filming this, like which arcs I'm going to include in that video. I mean, there are a few that I'm like, definitely that one, but some of them are kind of like up in the air right now. I guess it just depends on like what I'm in the mood for in the moment. But one of the books that I will definitely be including in this vlog is going to be Cherry Baby by Rainbow Rowell, because Rainbow Rowell is one of my favorite authors of all time, and this book is coming out in April, and I actually just got this book on my Kindle from NetGalley. So I was like, oh my god, I can't even wait. Like, this might be the first book that I read in the year of 2026 because I love Rainbow Rowell and I'm so excited for this new book from her. And then another book that's for sure going to be in that video is You Did Nothing Wrong by CJ Drews, because I mean, come on, Don't Let the Forest In was my #1 book of 2025, and so of course this is their adult debut, and this one says domestic suspense meets haunted house horror. So I'm so freaking excited to read this book. Oh my god, I literally can't wait. I'm also thinking I might read the thriller called Adrift by Will Dean. This one's actually going on sale in February, and I feel like Will Dean has been a little bit of like a hit or miss author for me, but I've been hearing such great things about this one specifically. It says that this one is a high tension thriller about a family's descent into darkness. And then I do have an entire stack of books here that I could include in an ARCs video. I even have a few books on my Kindle that I've been getting on NetGalley recently, so I have so many options for this. But some other ARCs that I have that I might read include The Future Saints by Ashley Winstead. This one is publishing in January, on January 20th, so this is one that I've been really looking forward to. I also do have Pinky Swear. This one is another thriller. This one publishes in late February, but this one just sounds like it could be right up my alley, and it's so short, so maybe I will include this one. I also have this one called Greedy. This one publishes in February, and I think this one especially intrigues me because I think it involves cannibalism and it's also set in Japan. And then I do have the new Emily Austen, Is This a Cry for Help? I don't know if I'm emotionally prepared to read something like this. Like, I might actually save this one for a little bit later in the year, but this is one that I am so freaking excited to read because I love Emily Austen, like one of my top favorite authors for sure. All right, so those are all of my current reading plans for the month of January and some of my 2026 goals. You know, January is going to be a little bit of an intense month for me and for my family. My sister's actually going to be getting surgery on her kidney again. If you were around on my channel back in 2020, then you know that like my sister had all of these really scary surgeries in the year of 2020. She ended up having to get surgery on her kidney, and then later that week she ended up having to go back in for an emergency surgery, and it was just a really scary week and like a really scary time in my life. And so I am a little bit stressed out going into the month of January because my sister is going to be having another surgery on her kidney, and it's actually going to be happening during the week of Winterween, which I know the timing could not be worse for these things. And so I just wanted to give you a heads up that that's going on because my Winterween vlogs might suffer a little bit because of that. Because, you know, during Winterween, I'm trying to like vlog every single day because my sister's going to be having surgery in like the last 3 days of Winterween. I just don't know how that's going to affect my vlogs because, you know, my family's going to be going through something. I mean, luckily with this surgery that my sister's going to be getting, it's going to be a lot less invasive than the surgeries that she got in 2020. So like we're hoping that her recovery with the surgery is going to be a lot quicker and that it's not going to be like as intense for her. So like we're hoping for the best, but I just wanted to give you a heads up because if it seems like I'm a little bit off in the month of January, it's because I am, and I'm worried about my sister and I just want everything to go perfectly fine. Anyways, thank you so much for watching this video. I can't believe we're already here doing the first video of 2026. I'm really excited for my channel this year and I'm really excited for all the different ideas that I have, and I would love your feedback on any of the things that I mentioned in this video. Thank you so much for watching as always, and I will see you very soon with another video. Bye!